Saddam Hussein. A name that still sends shockwaves through history. The man who once ruled Iraq with an iron fist, shaping the fate of an entire nation but ultimately fell in a way that no one could have predicted. Today, on the Chronicle Pulse, we dive deep into the life of one of the most infamous figures of the 20th century. From his humble beginnings to his brutal reign and his eventual downfall, let's uncover the story of Saddam Hussein. Born in 1937 in a poor village in northern Iraq, Saddam's story didn't begin in the halls of power. No, it began in the rough streets where survival was a game played by the strongest. His father? Absent. His mother? Struggling. Saddam learned early that if he wanted to make a name for himself, he'd have to fight for it. But Saddam wasn't content with a life of poverty. By his 20s, he wasn't just a young man, he was a man with a mission. He joined the Ba'ath Party, a political movement that promised to unite the Arab world under a single banner. And let me tell you, this was no ordinary political shift. The man had his eyes on power from the very start. The question was, how far would he go to get it? In 1959, Saddam made his first play for power in a dramatic way. He attempted to assassinate Iraqi Prime Minister Abdul Karim Qasim, and though the plot failed, it sent a clear message. Saddam wasn't someone you could ignore. He had the nerve and the resolve to strike. After fleeing into exile, Saddam didn't just sit around, he plotted. And in 1968, the Ba'ath Party finally seized control, and Saddam, he was back, and this time, he was at the center of the action. By 1979, Saddam was officially the leader of Iraq, and let me tell you, this was no democracy. This was a man who ruled by fear, not by votes. His regime was built on paranoia, oppression, and brutality. Anyone who stood in his way, gone. This was Saddam's world, and everyone else? They were just living in it. Remember the Anfal campaign? In the late 80s, Saddam launched one of the most brutal attacks against the Kurdish people. Chemical weapons. Mass executions. It's hard to overstate the scale of the atrocities, and this was just the beginning. Saddam wasn't just a dictator, he was a terror to anyone who didn't bow down to his power. Then, in 1980, Saddam made a fatal decision. He invaded Iran. The war would last for 8 years, and it would be one of the bloodiest conflicts the region had ever seen. Saddam, hoping to take advantage of the chaos in Iran, thought he could emerge victorious. But what happened next? A stalemate. The war was a disaster. Hundreds of thousands of people died, on both sides. And Saddam, he didn't just let the bloodshed unfold. No, he used chemical weapons on his own people and the Iranians, further cementing his legacy as a tyrant. The conflict dragged on, draining Iraq's resources. And, when it was finally over, Iraq was in ruins. Saddam's ambition had cost him dearly. Fast forward to 1990. Saddam, still craving more power, makes a terrible mistake. He invades Kuwait, a small but wealthy nation. And, once again, the world took notice. The world came together to stop him, led by the United States. A coalition of nations took action. The Gulf War was short, only about 6 weeks, but it was devastating. Saddam's forces were routed. Iraq was left shattered. And what did Saddam do? He crushed the rebellion within his own country, launching brutal crackdowns on the Kurdish and Shiite populations. But Saddam's time was running out. By 2003, after years of defiance and worsening relations with the world, the US launched a full-scale invasion of Iraq. This time, there was no escaping. Saddam's regime crumbled under the weight of superior firepower. Baghdad fell in a matter of days, and Saddam, once the most feared man in the region, was a fugitive. They found him in a spider hole. No longer a powerful dictator. Just a man hiding in the dirt. And it wasn't long before Saddam would face justice for his crimes. The trial? It was a spectacle. For months, the world watched as Saddam faced charges for his role in the deaths of over 140 Iraqi Shiites in 1982. But that was just the beginning. His crimes, his atrocities, were endless. On December 30, 2006, Saddam Hussein was hanged. The man who had ruled Iraq with terror and bloodshed met his end. The dictator who once struck fear in the hearts of millions, now silenced forever. But Saddam's death didn't bring peace to Iraq. In fact, it only deepened the chaos. A power vacuum was left behind. And the country, once under Saddam's brutal grip, spiraled into years of civil war, with sectarian violence tearing the nation apart. Saddam Hussein's story is one of ambition, ruthlessness, and eventual reckoning. His legacy? A reminder that no matter how powerful a dictator becomes, power can always slip through their fingers, and in the end, they must face the consequences of their actions. That's it for today's episode of the Chronicle Pulse. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who should we dive into next? Let me know. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more stories from history.